Hey guys, as you may know, we've been in Bosnia now for a few weeks, and currently we're staying in Sarajevo with my good friend from high school, Tim, and man, he has been an amazing host, showing us around the city really and giving us information about the whole entire Balkans. But just turns out he set us up with this company called Klix. Now, Klix is the most popular news site in Bosnia Herzegovina and one of the top 4 in the whole Balkan region. And, well, they were interested in doing an interview with us because we're U.S. travelers through Bosnia in a van. Doesn't happen very often. And so we sat down and had a chat with them. So we're going to share that with you. And afterwards, Tim is going to take us on an amazing hike right here in a national park near Sarajevo. So you don't want to miss that. So stick around. So we got a good episode coming. So let's go.
So we crossed in from Montenegro and we followed the Drina River up to Foka. That was our first adventure. We had to get a SIM card for his phone to work and get some Bosnian marks. And then we drove up into...
We circled back up into the national park.
Sutjeska
Yeah.
National Park. That's where we spent the night. We spent the night in our van right there at the restaurant across from the Valley of Heroes, which is a beautiful monument there.
But that road down to Trebinje,
Trebinje.
that road through the national park is the most beautiful drive. It's like,
one of the most beautiful places we've seen. So then we went to Trebinje and did the old town, and we went to the market, which was fantastic. And it was a Saturday, so it was all buzzing. It was good, yeah. And we camped on the river there, so by the bridge.
The rivers here are amazing.
The blue color of the water around here is amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, with all the birds, and then the water's so clear you can just see the plants and the colors.
Yeah. That you don't have that in many places in the world.
Well, yeah.
And we were able to park right on the river.
Forgot something sometimes.
Yeah, yes.
We just take it for granted.
You're like, oh, another river. The rivers
really,
here are stunning.
Yeah.
It's one of the nice things about traveling the way we do is we look at everything with fresh eyes, you know, so it's not like we see it every day. It's always like, oh, wow, right, time to go to the next place.
But we went to an actual campsite on the river just outside of Blagaj, and that's where I think we started to learn how beautiful the Bosnian people are.
Yeah.
The welcoming culture of people that live here.
Something that we're known for.
Yes,
actually.
that's where we started to see it.
They met us with a bottle of wine, of Bosnian wine.
Brought us the baklava. Beautiful. So we stayed there longer than we were supposed to. And then we went and we saw the monastery and where the water comes out, and that's a special place.
And there was a lovely host there. Her name was,
I think it was Emma.
Emma, yeah.
Yeah, really. So that's a very, as soon as you get there, it's peace. Yeah. It just feels peaceful there. And then we went to Mostar, where we were able to have a campground right in town where we could literally see the bridge. So we were in Old Town, and I think we were both incredibly surprised with that town. And I'll tell you, the reason why is because normally the way we travel, we tend to avoid the touristy spots.
Especially the cities and stuff.
And when we get into a place like that, I'm like, all right, let's just see it and go. And that's what I was expecting from Mostar, but no. You get there, and yeah, there's people everywhere, and there's tourist stuff, but it is such a beautiful town, the old town, the layers, all the ramps and the walls.
And the bazaar.
So we enjoyed that more than I thought. So that was a really cool place.
Yeah, and we were sitting there from our campground, and we were looking at the bridge. You know, we could see the bridge. And I sent a picture to my friend Tim, and he messaged back and he said, I was in Mostar from 1991 to 1994. So he was a volunteer for the war and helped with the humanitarian efforts. And just by seeing the bullet holes and the shrapnel holes in the building,
you can still see it.
It just really is like two feelings at once. You know, you feel the beauty of the city
and the tragedy.
You know,
and that's where we started to learn more about the tragic history of Bosnia, unfortunately. And then we came here, And Tim's house is up
On
on,
the hill.
on the hill. Yeah. So when you're at his house, you can't see the city, but you almost can, right there.
On the other side. Yeah.
But the first night or the second night, he brought us down to the city, took us to a play, and it was a one-woman show from Australia, and it was her reaction when she came here after the war and stumbled up on some areas where some of the horrific stuff happened. But we got to see the art scene, the theater scene, and we went to the after party. Beautiful play. They actually made a movie about it. So it was, but that kind of brought it all together. We'd been seeing the museums and hearing some stories from locals, and then Tim, of course, had told us stuff because he was here. But that kind of wrapped it all up. It was very eye-opening.
It was heavy, and we kind of always try to balance that. You know, we want to get a good feeling of the country and the culture and the history, and but sometimes it's just so intense. You know, you want to understand what happened, but it just so there's always that balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tim brought us down to Old Town and showed us the rows and told us some stories. We had the local coffee here. He took us on the Copper Street.
The dividing line between the Ottoman side and the Austria-Hungary side, and
East
that
and
in
West
itself is like.
Let's say people actually usually say that this city combines the west and the east. It's like a
and then you
mixture
have
of
that
everything.
line right there in
And
the
that
middle.
line, well, it doesn't really divide it. But
But it's
symbolic.
symbolic, and it was really interesting. And he took us to two little villages, Ulmoyani, and we ate out there at Koliba. Koliba Ulmoyani.
It's a little restaurant on top of the hood.
Koliba.
Yeah.
And then he took us out to Lukomir.
Yeah, the village. The highest, I think.
Yeah, and at Lukomir, he knows a lot of people there. So
He knows a lot of people everywhere.
And so I don't know if you know, he wrote the Bosnian travel guidebook.
From Brant.
Yeah. So he took us in the house of some locals, and they made us tea, and she was peeling potatoes, and the dad comes in from shepherding the sheep, and it was just
smoking the
Well,
cigarettes.
that is let's say the old traditional way of living. That is different experience even for me.
That's one of the really cool things about the way we travel.
Yeah.
We travel slow, and we look for that kind of thing. We like to see the real, or the old, or the stuff that's going away. So.
Well, it was really special. A lot of it wouldn't have happened without Tim's insider knowledge. Again, when he put together, the book, he went to a lot of these villages and a lot of these places and met these people, and so a lot of them he's known for 20 or 30 years. And he goes back and visits them. But that view of the canyon right there.
Have you been out to
absolutely
Lukomir?
stunning.
Actually, I haven't.
It's a long drive, but it's a beautiful view.
I was, but as a little kid, so I don't really
doesn't
remember.
count. I understand.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Weird, since you're recommending me stuff to see in my own country, but
that's not unusual for us in every country we go to.
No, it's very common.
It's common.
A lot of people, like you said, after you see it for a while, you take it for granted, or you don't pay attention to the beauty of the rivers or the mountains or whatever.
Well,
and we see it.
We would be guilty. We're from Florida. That's where we used to have our home and everything. We'd be guilty of the same thing there.
Yes.
Somebody be like, such and such beach is so beautiful. We've never been. It's just
really it's a condition of our former lifestyle where we work jobs, and you're so focused on that life that you don't pay attention to the birds or whatever.
Yeah.
And now that's what we do. We pay attention to that, and it's just so beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's a really cool way to live.
Yeah.
The food, have you tried it?
Yes. So one of the first things we had was goulash.
Oh.
And it was delicious and very different than what we would expect as Americans. Our goulash is much different. Of course, Kurt's had trout from the many rivers. I don't care for fish.
I love the trout. And
we had the cheese pie and the spinach pie. So Srnica,
Sirnica,
and
Zeljanica.
We had that there, and we had a barley and veal stew. And we had elderflower juice, which we had never heard of. It was good. It was like a flower.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
That is
And then in the old town, we went to Pold Lipum, that restaurant, and we had klepe.
Which is the stuffed ravioli.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the sitni shivap. And we love your cake. Trileche.
Yeah, that is not traditional here,
But it's everywhere.
Yep, you can find
It's
it
everywhere.
It's actually a Latin dish, I
Yeah.
believe.
But
yeah,
it-
tres
Tres
leches.
leches, yes.
Yes.
But it definitely tastes different here than it does over in Italy or even over in Mexico. It's definitely
So
a
we
Mexican
made
dish.
our own version of
Yes,
it.
and it's really good.
And Tim took me up to a hike, Zalitska.
Oh, yeah. No, Skakavak. They did that. I skipped that.
We did a hike and we stopped at Dragon's Restaurant right at the bottom, and we had coffee, and then afterwards we had, I don't know what it's called, but it's like little biscuits or little pastries, like a plate full of little breads and then cheeses and sausages. Oh, so good.
So that's the local food we've tried so far.
Good morning, everyone. Today is an exciting day. Today I get to go on a hike. Now normally I plan my hikes, I kind of look at what's ahead, but we've been being hosted by Tim, so if you guys haven't been following along, you definitely need to meet the Bosnia guy. He knows everything there is to know about the Balkans and especially Bosnia, and he's taking me on a hike today, but he has not revealed the details yet. It was a short drive here from Tim's place, and we are kind of at the foot of the trail. Now here there's a little restaurant, and of course Tim knows the owner, Dragon, and he had a little cup of soup before we're going to get started on the hike, and we had some coffee. But we are about to start hiking, and this is sort of the view from the entrance. Now I believe there's a big hike, I believe there's a big waterfall here, but if I'm being completely transparent, Tim has been holding back information on this trail from me. So these guys that I'm hiking with have been here many times. So I'm just going to be following along. And so you guys are going to find out what this trail is all about, just like me. We're at the start of the entrance. And what's cool is you can already hear the sounds of the nature, the crickets, the birds chirping. And it is a beautiful Sunday afternoon. And you can see our view back down to Sarajevo. But it looks like there's going to be a lot of people on this hike with us. So let's get going. So the start of the hike is actually on a road. It looks like it's still kind of used. I don't think, anyway, we started the hike on some kind of road. So you can see the trail start here. But the forest, well, spring is here. And the forest, the trees are starting to bud and the leaves are starting to come on. And if we're lucky, we might even see some birds building some nests. But from the winter time, everything's greening up and starting to look beautiful and lush. So really excited to get up in here and see what this forest looks like.
Cool, there you go. Nice, all the best. Nice to meet you. Well, nice to meet you, sir. A pleasure.
How you doing?
DJI or?
Yeah, DJI.
We are running GoPros,
Oh,
but considering DJI,
I'm sorry to hear that. You should try this pocket. It's absolutely amazing.
well, that's the next one on the list.
It's just like these big white boulders push up out of the ground, and then the moss settles on them and it's bright green, so it's such a stark contrast. And with the lights kind of pouring through the forest, it's really cool. And there is a steep sort of valley or ravine below us. I don't hear water, so I don't know if there's a river down there. I do know there's a big waterfall in this park. Not sure if we're gonna see it today. In here we have our first little water crossing, and you can see it's a little stream coming down here, and it goes under the road and does come out there, and maybe it makes it down to the bottom before the mountain soaks it all up. Not sure. So to be honest with you, I've been bringing it up from behind all day trying to keep up with these guys, but I should note that we have managed to keep up with the bikers. So we are hiking at a blistering pace.
Enjoy. Oh, French. Guys, bye-bye.
All right, you too, enjoy. Ciao. So kind of the way this is working out is these guys know the mountain, so it's not even like a trail. So way back there, we turned up like the meadow and saw the horses and just started climbing up sort of the side of this mountain with no trail. And Tim's like, there's a road up there. And sure enough, we get up there, a road. So essentially what we did was avoided the switchback that the bicyclers had to take. That's how we were able to kind of keep up with them. But anyway, all that meant was, yes, it was shorter, but it was also much steeper. And just like that, the forest did start to open up. And I think we're making our last little climb to our first viewpoint, our first scenic vista. That's pretty cool. So we were driving all around those mountains over there, that specifically that one, right?
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's Sarajevo down there below us.
Sarajevo.
What a beautiful view up here. And so after climbing for such a long time and kind of a little bit steep, not too bad, nothing overly aggressive, but nonetheless, it is nice to have a little downward trek. Now this is a steep little, what looks like goat path to me, and which is no surprise that Tim knows it. Seems like he knows everyone in every corner of Bosnia, but I have no doubt we're going to end up where he wants us to be. Look at this spot. There's the restaurant we started off at. Wow. All right, so we scampered out onto this little rock out here, hanging over the abyss.
Yeah, it really is.
Down to,
it's a drop.
it is a huge drop down there. And so we kind of have a view from out here in two different directions, one down into Sarajevo, into the valley. And Tim, do you mind if I ask you what this view is?
Yeah, I mean, this is to the north face. You can't see it from here, but the waterfall Skakavac, which I think is the biggest one in the country, it's a 100-meter waterfall. But like this is wild terrain. This is bear country, wolf country. There's no settlements out here to the north.
Awesome. So we've walked back down the hill, and if you guys can see, we're kind of on another little goat trail, and this one's down along a little fence. But we just literally walked down the mountain, so this is not part of the trail, but like I say, it's a little goat path. And look at the bright red roof in this little farmhouse with this amazing view right here. And there's another little cabin up here. And look at that big rock face up there behind it. Actually, I just spotted that.
Wow, look at the size of it.
What was a snake?
It's a lizard, but a really big one.
All right, Tim got some spring water. We took a break. And now I guess we're on another big climb. He says only the first couple 100 feet are steep, but here we go, guys. And this is definitely the steepest part of the trail today. And it really, literally is going almost straight up. Like you can reach out and touch the ground in front of you. That was the first piece of advance notice you've given me.
Never ends.
That's right, son.
After another beautiful vista with Sarajevo down in the bottom of the valley and the snow-covered mountains in the back, some of which we explored with Tim in our last episode. But we are back on another goat trail, and we are wrapping around where there's boulders, and the forest is definitely much more sparse, and the sun is beaten today, but it is clear. The temperature is perfect, and it is just a stunning walk in the nature. So these guys are obviously super fit, and that's all I can do to even kind of keep up with them. Well, I can't keep up with them, but in any event, it's because they have walked this area for so many years. Right after the war here, Tim actually lived at a street we passed when we were driving in, at a sort of a simple, basic home. He lived there for several years, and so this was kind of like his backyard, so to speak. And same way with his buddy. And so basically, for these guys, it's not really a hike. It's just they're going for a walk, and they know this mountain like the back of their hand, and it is just so cool to be able to get like a local perspective from a beautiful place like this. And there's so many details about the different mountains and the ranges and the rivers and the valleys and the people and all the stuff that I really haven't done a great job of capturing. But the nature is also extremely beautiful. Woohoo! Guys, we just busted out a steep downhill. Again, these guys are taking me down some super secret back door trails, and this one basically went straight down the mountain, and so it was fast down, tough to do but really fun, and a little bit gravelly, so you're always worried about getting your footing. Other than that, just a magical trail. And well, we're back at the restaurant. I think we're gonna go grab a little bite to eat. Now I know what we did. We kind of went around the backside of this mountain, and we kind of snaked around up the backside and came up to this top of this rock face right here.
A dođe majke jednom normalno Boga jebao, dođe radnim danom kako Bog i dovede ženu kako ponese trave da se napušimo i brate šta? Došao mi nakon, dolaziš mi 3 puta, odi dalje, nemoj tu.
And just like that, our surprise adventure comes to a close. Ride back, catch up with Snow and the kitties, maybe even take a nap, although it's a beautiful day.
Like general impressions of Bosnia, like after now you're leaving and
we're coming back.
I know that. Yeah, obviously. So what is the main thing that made you that actually will make you come back?
For me, I love the nature, and you know, you have the beautiful mountains. It's so green and lush, the crystal clear rivers, and there's these nice little villages with their own little local touch and their local dishes. And the people are kind, so it's not really one thing, but it's those things that just makes you feel comfortable.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!